So apparently they made a movie based off of Swan Lake by Tchaikovsky, and it's awesome.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hey travelers, welcome back to Roberto's Room. So again, kind of like the last video that I made, I'm debating whether to start a my wife recommends portion of this channel because we just seem to be on a hot streak. Whenever we watch a movie, she's recommending a lot of these movies to me that I have never really seen, probably because as a young boy I didn't really care for a princess film, but honestly probably one of my biggest regrets not having seen this movie when I was younger, because Swan Princess was a phenomenal time, and I really want to talk about it. Before we get into this review though, if you would please drop a like down below. Have you seen Swan Princess? Please drop a comment, and if you would please subscribe. Every subscription helps. We are on our way to 250, so close, and I would love to get there hopefully by the end of this month. Let's do it, right? Well, let's get back to the review.
Smile, everyone! We're back.
So Swan Princess, this was one that honestly I have heard about kind of in passing, but because, you know, I was a boy growing up, this wasn't necessarily on the top of my must-watch list, and to be honest with you, I'm kind of sad that it wasn't, because even though, yes, okay, it's about a princess and it is a romance, the actual romance part of this movie is pretty realistic in that the two characters, Odette and the prince, they don't really care for one another at the beginning of this. They grow up together and they're set to be married in a arranged marriage, but they really want no part of it. And the both of them, as they're growing up, the parents on both sides are trying to put them together, and you kind of watch them grow up. Honestly, I feel like just watching them grow up would have been a movie all in of its own because of that dynamic that they had. It was such a really, I think, a very realistic dynamic between children, and you know, if you maybe do like somebody but you couldn't admit it, and so you watch these two children grow up, and of course they become the prince and the princess, and most of the movie takes place when I guess they're maybe in their 20s, and of course the prince really starts to take a liking to the princess, but as most guys are, we're not that articulate, and he can't really put into words exactly what about her that she likes, and that results in basically the whole thing being called off. And of course, as there usually are in these films, there's a villain character that was wronged, and of course he comes back for revenge, and really the plot hinges on his revenge. And I don't want to give too much else away other than that setup, because I really would love for you guys to enjoy this film. Again, for me, this movie was obscure. This is not something that I had ever seen before, honestly, last weekend. And having seen this movie, it is so awesome to see movies. This was made back in the 90s, and just like Thief and the Cobbler that we talked about last week, it is indicative of passion and a vision, just a really good story, and with really good relationships. There's of course animal sidekicks. They're that whipped cream and those sprinkles on top of a sundae of a film that just add that little bit of levity when you need it, because this movie is dark. One of the things that I have noticed with older films that honestly we need to, and I want to take a little bit of an aside here to talk about the movies that we grew up on, because this would have been in that age of movies that I would have probably seen. My wife obviously grew up on this film, and they get dark. You see people die, and you get to sit with it. You get to really just let that emotion hit you. We think a lot about The Lion King and Mufasa, but there are a lot of films that really let you sit with the grief before they, of course, resolve the problem. But I miss movies like this, and I feel like we need movies like this. I think that children need movies like this to teach them some things about, yes, grief is a real thing. Yes, death is a real thing. And it's part of life. And to open up that discussion, we have become so sanitized in our media today that we can't talk about anything important. And we get these kids, and I'm watching the younger generations, they have no clue about anything. Whereas when we were growing up, by the time we were 10, we knew what it was like to see Mufasa and poor Simba. Dad, wake up, Dad. Like, where are the movies that taught life lessons? And I'm not even talking about Bambi. Let's not even go there. But there were movies back then by studios that taught hard lessons. I mean, think about even what came to mind just now, Prince of Egypt, that dealt with slavery and with other very adult topics under the guise of this children's movie. And it was a multi-layered experience that as you grow up, you get to really open that up and really realize, oh, they're talking about more than just what's on the surface, what you get as a kid. So where are movies like this? And I feel like this is one of the reasons why this movie really resonated, because with this, you get to really, like I said, there is a lot of unaliving in this movie.
Die!
And you get to sit and you get to really sit with the grief. And I feel like we need to talk about these movies more, and why I'm loving that I'm using this channel to talk about these movies that probably don't get talked about very often, because they were awesome and they taught lessons and they let you really feel emotions, and we need that back. I feel like children's entertainment needs those hard-hitting lessons through, an appropriate way, but still allowing them to be able to sit with the emotions and process them. That needs to become the norm again. And this movie, again, even though, yes, we talk about, they do sit with the grief a lot, and that is part of the movie, they do have levity, and that's life. You have levity and you have grief, and you have to learn how to live with both in many cases. And these movies need to be watched and celebrated and preserved. I love that actually with Swan Princess, I know that they just did a 4K restoration. That's what we were able to watch. And it is gorgeous. And I love that they took the time, Sony Pictures, who owns the Swan Princess as of right now, they took the time to actually preserve the movie so that other people can see it. And I really would love to have other, especially of this generation, watch movies like this, because they are so very worth it. And they're just awesome, because this movie honestly was phenomenal, and I highly recommend it because it's a phenomenal film, and I want for them to make movies like this today. Have you seen Swan Princess? If you have, please drop a comment down below. I'd love to chat with you. What did you think about the movie? As well, drop a like if you liked my review. And if you haven't and you're here, please subscribe. I'd love to have you on board for the ride. We are on the journey to 250. We're close. And my ultimate goal is to get past 500 subscribers by the end of 2026. I think this is going to be a great year, just indicative of these last two movies that I was able to review. I'm so looking forward to making much more content this year for you. So definitely stay tuned, subscribe, and if you do subscribe, hit that notification bell to be notified every time we drop a video on this channel. Thank you so much for watching this review with me, travelers, and as always, go with grace.